Welcome to Illuminate Women's Music live workshop event today. I'm Dr. Angela Elizabeth Slater. I am the founder and artistic director of Illuminate Women's Music. This is a project that I set up back in 2017. Live workshop event today. I'm Dr. Angela Elizabeth Slater. I am the founder and artistic director of Illuminate. We're just having So if I speak, we're just having.
Well, there's a feedback. It's going to be recursively good. So as pause, we'll pause it for 5.
We're just going to pause for 5 minutes, and we'll be back with you again. Okay, so thanks for joining us again. I think we've resolved our tech issue, so I'll start again and welcome you all to Illuminate Women's Music live workshop. As I was saying, I'm Dr. Angela Elizabeth Slater. I'm the founder and artistic director of Illuminate Women's Music, which is a project I set up back in 2017 to celebrate the creativity of women, both as performers and combined. And today we're going to be rehearsing and workshopping our 5 Illuminate commissioned composers, which include Sonia Allori, Kate Sagovsky, Simone Seales, Ruta, Vitkauskaite, and myself, Angela Elizabeth Slater. We'll be rehearsing each one for approximately 25 minutes. We'll have a short 10-minute break in the middle of that. And then another short ado. We will start on our first workshop today, which is with the composer Kate Sagovsky. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Kate, and my piece is called A Note on Words for Wolf, and it's going to be played by Jessica on cello and Stephanie singing.
How was the speed at 84?
It was a little bit slow, but it's a rehearsal, so maybe if we start at the bit where Stephanie joins in, should we do that? So, A.
Mm-hmm. How is the tempo or feel generally?
The tempo is a little bit slow,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it should kind of be a bit swifter.
Anything you want to add to the opening section? Do you want it to be freer?
Yeah, freer and louder, I think. Yeah, not quite as quiet as, yeah, and as expressive as you want.
Okay, lovely. Do you want to go straight ahead?
Yeah.
Particularly when you get to bar 25, when that downward motive.
Would you like a more like not complete whisper, but kind of a whispery quality to it? Because right now I'm like, when you hear, but I can play more.
Probably not.
When you hear the word something.
Well, we could try that.
Okay.
We could try it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now well ahead of 60. I'll tell that was a bit fast. Where do you want to go from? Just to catch that bit if you're Stephanie?
We can start at B.
Start at B.
Yeah. What's through the hum? When you hear them shine over sands.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so it basically starts with you very expressive and you quite flat. As in, yeah, not expressive.
Non-expressive. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then maybe we could move to the bit where it kind of takes off, which...
So I should be a little more expressive there.
Yes. Basically, lots of bow is what I'm imagining the whole time. Sorry.
This is one of the ones that doesn't sound quite so well, but I'll...
Which one is that? The B flat, the B on the
rhythm.
G, B on the G string.
Yeah. Let's see how.
Yeah.
You might turn those sounds to music, catching contours, falling vines. Then, seized with your word sounds, you arrange the pitch and rhythmic, you sinking sense and shapes, and stripping the words of the chance to be heard as words. A chance to be heard in the way they were meant to be. Heard in the voice of the person who told you their words.
Can I ask you a question about this? Bit?
Yeah.
Just about what sound you're after at the end of 77. Do you want quite a lot of overpressure?
Yes,
there?
and that's an overpressury sound because the top note, which I think is it an F sharp? Yeah, the F sharp doesn't sound like an F sharp because you've got a D underneath it. So it's a loud overpressury sound.
Like that much? Maybe want to hear the notes.
Yeah, more overtony. Yeah, like that one.
That one.
Overtony and loud, please. But yeah, generally the idea is that you're very expressive and you're kind of the main part, and Stephanie's kind of gradually imposing herself on you.
That's pretty usual.
Sorry, Stephanie. If you could just hold back for a moment. Yeah. I'm trying to think of other bits. So is there any other bits you want to work on?
I'd like another pass of the 84, the mental section.
Yes.
Thing. I was like, ooh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it okay just to return to the fourth of H? So I'm just bringing the A and D in just at the end of the slur.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I mean, I just basically did like a...
Yeah, just a little. Yeah. Do you want more rhythm to the harmonics?
Yeah,
What do you want?
I think the rhythm,
Okay,
please.
thank you. Yeah.
Are you playing the open strings at the bottom?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I can play them
Yeah.
louder.
Yeah, play. Yes, please.
Like this.
Yeah. Should we do the upbeat to You Have Suspended?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, ideal speed here.
You have suspended. That's the ideal speed, but that's quite an ask, I think.
You have suspended. That's okay.
You have suspended.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have suspended, but you have suspended on one note. What to say because the only way you can make sense of words as you hear them spoken is to hold them there just for a moment.
Thank you. I think I was wrong in my dynamics. I think that that bit shouldn't be as quiet, that last bit, because otherwise it's not really, doesn't really have any effect. Yeah, so both of you actually, I've given you too quiet a dynamic.
It's for me. Is that right from where I come in at after K, or is it the glyph that you want?
So maybe you come in at like a PP and then get a bit louder, but without, not a dramatic crescendo or anything.
Sure. Should we do it again? Just that last bit?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you are not, you don't finish exactly when she finishes her note, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember us discussing the dead stop.
Yeah, it's not a dead stop. That should have been removed. Sorry, I thought that
That's
was
okay.
gone. Yeah.
So just let it resonate.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Do you want to go from K?
Is to hold them there just for a moment.
Thank you. Would it work doing that on 3 bows, so making it longer, so the gliss down?
Yeah. So it takes up more time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm rushing to catch up with the vocal notes to try and time it. But
Yeah, but
maybe
don't worry
Okay.
about timing it. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So if I, I'll go from 118.
Yeah.
Last line. Okay.
Almost need you a bit louder, Stephanie, in that bit.
Louder?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think when we did the first workshop, you did, instead of a which originally you did a which actually I think worked better.
Oh, like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There was one harmonic bit, bar 95.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a not
Let's have a look.
playable bit or yeah, that one.
I think it should be okay. Is that what you're after?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Shall we go from the beginning with or is there any bits you want to do?
No, I think just another run for me is fine. How
Yeah.
are you?
Yeah. Can I ask one question? So at I, we've got scrappy and dramatic. Is that coming over sufficiently, or do you want it to be more clearly sort of scrappy and... It's fine if
And what would be your more how scrappy do you go?
I don't know. It depends what you. Yeah, but I mean, I can just sort of bodge it a little bit to make it sound sort of messy, or just make it give it a bit more energy, or
More energy, I think.
yeah. Okay.
But budget if that appeals. I'm a fan of the bodge. So, right. Yeah. So maybe if we do it over, and with the overall feeling that. So basically, with Jessica as kind of confident and expressive as possible. You're the bit of the words that I'm hearing, and the bit that I latch onto, and the bit that I love, and you're the kind of bit that's kind of realizing why you need to be separate and and a different sound. So, yeah.
Falling vines. what you have suspended on behind. Note.
Thank you very much. Thank
Hello. For the people watching, my name is Simone Seales, and my piece is called "We Have Cried for So Long." I forgot what it was called just then. Did you just want to dive right in, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have cried for so long. It vibrates in your head. This knowing, this song. Walls through glowing mirrors, headless youth. Connected through hands held beyond the highlands.
This knowing, this song crawls through your throat, rides under your tongue. Peels away your skin. Your body knows this song. Could sing this song.
much. First for you, how'd that feel?
Felt good? Yeah, felt good.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Yeah, great. Yeah, lovely. How is the balance in the event? Is it okay?
Oh yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Super, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed all the textures and the improv section up to the yeah, I really liked what you did there, just letting it, yeah. And I liked the different sounds you were getting and the gasping. I think the lament could be slower.
Okay, yeah, that was my bad.
No, it's all right. And I just think generally it could all just take more time. Especially, Jessica, when you start reading the poetry, I think letting there be space between the lines. Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, and do you want, so if there's space between the vocals, do you want that space to be filled with vocal and cello? Or just for there to be...
I think saying space more with the text. So taking longer to go between each phrase with the poem, and letting yourself then like move towards that next measure rather than feeling like it's blocks for each effect. Does that make sense?
I think so. So in between each of the lines of the text, we keep playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And then could the effects that you're doing, keeping the intensity but making it softer? Yeah. So the poem, it's all about sort of everything that's under before then you get into the improv, into the lament. So it's more of a bubbling effect than anything. Do you want to just try the poem section again?
Yeah.
I wondered about, because it's we talked about overpressure near the bridge. I was just trying to find a good quiet sound. Is that too crunchy if it's above the fingerboard instead?
Oh no, it's fine.
What do you think? Because
yeah, I think.
What would you prefer?
What would I prefer?
I'm just wondering where the best place to get that pianissimo that you're looking for is. But I don't want to change the sound that you intended.
I like that sound for the beginning, and I think when going towards the bridge for the improv that goes up higher is nice.
Okay, nice. Cool. So I'll keep all the overpressure at the beginning, sol tasto.
Yeah.
Lovely.
A bit. I think I want less note.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have cried for so long. It vibrates in your head. This knowing, this song wails through glowing mirrors, headless youth. Connected through hands held beyond the highlands.
This knowing, this song, crawls through your throat. Rides under your tongue. Peels away your skin. Your body knows this song. Could sing this song.
Stephanie, could when Jessica stops, is there a way that you could hold a note that goes from fry to normal and then break?
Yes.
And then...
Yes, I can. Yes, can we try that? Maybe like just improvise a little.
Yeah. And just to hear, is there the note that you're holding goes from fry to normal rather than, if that makes sense. So you're transitioning within that held note and then breath into the lament.
To should that pitch that I'm arriving to also be F, like under?
No, because there's a big break anyway. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Can we just try it? I should do it on an exhale so I can get my actual sound. I was like, sorry, do one more time for me.
Incredible.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is wrong. Wrong direction. One more time.
Instead of decrescendo, then can you keep it a forte? And
Yes.
then it's like subito, mezzo forte when you...
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yes. Yes.
Oh, just one more time and then can you go on?
Cool. Yeah.
sounds sick. Could Stephanie, is it possible to keep at measure 7 up until measure 13 that piano?
Yes, yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
So I think keeping it quite restrained,
Mm-hmm.
and then crescendoing nicely through, and Jessica holding that final D quite like impactful. If that makes sense. So instead of fading off, really have it direct.
In 18.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like the period of the sentence.
Yeah. Cool. And then just a wee breath after it. Yeah.
You can have a longer pause. I will also.
Okay, sure.
Just to give you a 5-minute warning.
Cool. Yeah, thanks.
Should we just go from 7? Mm-hmm.
Shall I do the first bit?
Yes, please.
Stephanie, I really like your intensity, and I think just match the intensity going in a bit earlier, I think. So, and I think just a faster vibrato is what I want at the bar 16 with on the A.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can just go on.
Yeah. From a 19?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To add in time with that apostrophe, with the comma, and give a strong upbeat then for Stephanie to. So that bar's going to be a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'll watch for that.
Should we just go from the beginning of that bar?
Of 21?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What happens if you were to become whispery, like towards the end of that? And could I just hear what that sounds like?
We'll be starting again promptly at 2:05. So see you soon.
I really like the rhythmic bit.
Sorry.
Okay, welcome back, and we're starting with me, and I'm Andrea Elizabeth Slater, and this is my piece, My Skin, a Selkie's Tale, which sets the text of Kendra Preston Leonard. So yeah, shall we have a run through it first? Mm-hmm.
We have and wit down thy water.
was even more impressive. Maybe we'll work through it backwards. I'll try and keep it quick, as I know we won't be able to go through the whole thing again. Just at the end there, I think you can really stretch that out for much longer. I'm not sure it was even quite full 2 bars. Yeah. So if it ends up being, I'd rather think at the end, oh, that was longer than I want.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Okay. And also just sort of at that end section from 188. I think just generally it could be slower, and you could almost sort of just take the rhythmic rhythm as like a guide here and stretch out become and the sun as much as your voice will let you. There. Just also at P, so on loving, I was wondering, can this just have a little bit of rubato and just be a little bit more sort of tender? Perhaps slightly less vibrato in that slightly sort of purer in tone. Yes. Yeah. And then in bar 175, Jessica, just those little grace notes, if they can be like just slightly clearer, a little bit more strident, I think that would be fine. I don't think we need to like play through these little points I'm saying. I was wondering at 155 whether we were genuinely at 56 there. I think it could become much. To me, it still felt not. It still felt more agitated, like the earlier section, like more than it should. It was definitely calmer, but I think maybe it could be a little. So I did wonder whether you wanted to sort of run into that slightly, maybe from M or something, or maybe not even that far back, just into that section a little bit.
Should we go for 146? Yes, I'm going to mark down an octave.
Sure, yeah, no problem. That's great, and I think what will really help as well is if you really go ugly on that over bow pressure at N.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about that in our last rehearsal. Yeah, it needs to go really ugly, gritty.
And then retreat from that by the end of the bar?
Yeah, retreat, just the tapers of it are still present in the sound when you get, when Stephanie comes in with above. But I think we said last time you could almost treat those bars as two fermata bars. It sort of doesn't matter how long they take, because you know sort of as the sound, you could even give a nod to Stephanie. We don't need to be precisely in time there. It's more about going through the transformation of the sound. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I had some other points that were a little bit earlier in the piece. Around bar 58. Yeah, I think this bit where I plead on them with the pauses. I think each of those notes could be longer, and I wondered how we can make it sound more fragile in the voice. Like, I don't know, a slightly purer tone again, maybe sort of non-vib. And just in that line, I also wrote balance here. So I think, Jessica, it would perhaps just come down slightly from where you were. And
during 58,
the line of 58, What else have I put here? Oh, and so maybe it might be good to just do this page because I've written a few things in 52 to make more of the forte piano Jessica. And then I think in 54, Stephanie, feel free to sort of stretch the rhythm there, a bit of rubato again.
Yes.
So I wonder whether, I think we have time still, yes we do, to just sort of run through from the top of the page just to the end of the line of 58.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to just play 50 at a time? How many did I?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. From 52. Okay.
52?
Mm-hmm.
Plus beat. Okay.
Raw and red down the middle. I plead, have and down the middle.
Wonderful. Yeah, really, that was spot on. Thank you so much. I just got a little note at E, so this is page 7, just about this being calmer. I swim, I gleam beneath. Just a little switch of intensity briefly. Yeah, you'll notice my piece sort of switches between these two modes quite quick in places, and that's one of them, just to sort of think, I need to be operating in a different sort of space there.
Yeah.
And then I think maybe at this point I'll go sort of right back to the beginning.
I was a bit of a mess. I apologize for the beginning section.
Yeah, so it's these box things with the first coming out of the into the where. I didn't hear that happen, but maybe you just missed it this time from bar 2 into bar 3.
Yeah, I was trying to sort of do something musical, and it kind of came like tripped over it.
I was thinking, I'm sure I've heard you do it before.
I wanted to come like kind of like almost like from like no voice, what, like a bit of a delay thing, but maybe I just need to like what?
Yes.
Just like come in.
Or I think if you can, it needs to be something that's sort of like transforming from the
Yeah. I can do that.
And then also on the next page, I think you realised halfway through about the mouth closing.
I know,
thing.
and I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I circled it again.
For the people at home's benefit, we've spoken about this thing of closing or having the mouth covered, and it's not actually physically covered. It's sort of more of like a closing within like the sort of palate as such that I'm after. So that's fine. And so I think it was also B. I felt like maybe it would be nice to just do that again, because I felt you guys weren't quite sure when you were leaving that section.
Right. No, I was trying to take trying to take more time and go between the boxes like we did in last rehearsal.
Yeah, and I felt that perhaps you could have done your second box a few more times.
Yes.
Yeah, and remember, you don't have to do. You could do the second box several times in a row.
Yeah.
So I think it just lost its intensity. So we have like 3 minutes. So maybe we should just pick one of those. Maybe B.
Yeah.
To do.
Yeah.
Should we go from like B to C or something?
Yeah, and I can cue us out of that, bar 9B. I can cue us into the next bar.
Yeah, I think I'd got that Stephanie cues in.
But that's what we're doing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think last time when we ran for Angela, we kind of did that, and then Angela's like, can we do longer? And so then this time I just kind of ignored that, and I was just looping. But I can give, I'll be like
a nod into your where.
Yeah.
I think I got in my head that you were queuing from 9 until 10, and then that you were making a defiant forte piano at 11, sort of to help you get out of 10 into 11.
Yes.
So yes, let's do that before we run out of time.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, great. That works very nicely.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I think that's probably time, isn't it? Yes. So thanks very much. And we'll now be swapping across to Ruta, who is online. So let's see if we can hear Ruta.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello, you can hear me. This is great. Hi, everyone. Hi, audience. Hi, Jessica and Stephanie. I know. My piece actually involves some audience participation. So I'm very happy that so many people came in through Angela's piece. That's very useful, actually. I was wondering if Stephanie and Jessica, are you ready just to go through with all the audience participation as well?
Yeah.
I will lead a little workshop. Now, I will attempt to lead workshop through the speaker, and then Stephanie, are you also okay to do the movement bits as well?
Yes.
There is not very much space for you, of course, but
That's
maybe
right.
we just kind of have.
Yeah, I'll make do.
And are you guys okay to play through the piece then as well to start with? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, then I'll start with just 2 minutes audience, a little workshop, and then we can go into the piece. We can try. We will attempt this. It will be much better when I'm there in person and you can see me. But basically, what's going to happen at the start is that I will hand some toy percussive instruments that make very gentle, nature-like little sounds. We don't have them now because I'm not there, so we will have to make do with what we've got, which is, if you could, in the audience, if you could find some kind of way of making little noises, like for example, finger clicking like this, if you can hear. Or tapping on your chair, maybe knocking on your, if there's wooden or metal bits of your chairs. Just things that you could try and do is hissing noises, which is or shh. If you can hear the shh. And those who can, you can try and whistle if you can. That sounds lovely. Now, can we do it all together just for 20 seconds? All of these, any of these noises, just as the whole audience. 3, 2, 1, go. Sparse texture. So basically what I need is that when Stephanie shows her hand gesture, so Stephanie, could you demonstrate? It will be like this. Yeah? So when she shows like this, you could start with your sounds, but maybe just bear in mind the rule that there should be maybe only 2 or 3 sounds at the same time. So try to have longer gaps and rests in between. And it's okay. It was okay if it's more sounds than this, because you can't predict who's to the next one. But just try to see if maybe you can not continuously make sound, but just once in a while. So it's very, very sparse. And when Stephanie claps her hands above her, and holds her palms in front of you, it means you have to stop, and you have to stop right away. So here we go. Both Jessica and Stephanie will be imitating you. So at the start of the piece, Jessica will be imitating, and then you will be asked. It will be an indication. You will not be asked. It will be an indication for you to make your little sounds at the end of the piece, and then Stephanie will do a little bit of imitation. And when she claps her hands like this, then we will stop. And that will be the end of the piece. The piece lasts for about a minute, so a bit of audience sounds in the start and a bit of at the end. Your function is to create an environment for Stephanie and Jessica to lay through a ritual, a fire ritual, kindred rituals that involves real chantings from Ungaric, real fire spells also from Lithuania. Of course, we are not going to set Scottish music center on fire, but it's a blessing of the fire. It's a very warm space and home created by this very strong feminine. So whenever Stephanie is ready. Wow, great. Thank you, guys. Thank you, audience, as well. It was sounding very good from here. I couldn't probably hear all the delicate things, but yeah, thank you for doing this. I think I've got 10 minutes. I've got
5 minutes according to Angela.
Oh,
5
minutes.
Yeah, sorry.
Right. Well, then in that case, maybe we don't have time to try things, but I could just speak through it. And all the beginning, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So my first comments actually start only at bar 35. I realize you do a bit of rallentando there, and I understand why. It's because the tempo change. But I think I would rather prefer you not to slow down there if you can,
Okay.
and rather just go into tempo 90 straight from there. Then that section actually at tempo 90 from bar 39, it sounded very slow to me, much slower than I imagined.
That was my bad. I'll set a tempo as you marked at 90.
Yeah, it should not feel this calm really. It's quiet, but it's quite tight. That whole section.
Okay.
And and so the comment about bar 48, for example, the r sounds, right?
Yeah.
So both for Stephanie and for Jessica. So Stephanie, if you could not just sit on that D flat, but actually go into I can't sing because of my throat now, but go from like go into complete like no voice back into voice.
Yeah.
With a closed nose. And Jessica, same as for you. Your note don't look like this, but this is why I have those dynamics with al niente. So you basically, your sound should almost completely disappear in the middle of that gesture, and just some kind of like because it's right now it's too much pitch actually in that section. And I think all the other gestures, I really like how you did them. Just I think sometimes you get a bit carried away with the pitch, and just remember that in these sections actually there should be very, very little with pitch, more noise really. So all the scratches can be much more exaggerated than actual note indicated. But I don't have a particular place to say, because it kind of comes and goes a little bit as you play. So if you could just remember that the whole section is noise. Then blessing of the kindling. I haven't indicated in the score, but actually what I imagined, Stephanie, that you start with a ghostly sound there on bar 74, not this kind of dramatic soprano. At least it sounded to me on Zoom. Maybe it's not like this in space. But you know what I mean? We tried those ghostly sounds with workshop.
Yeah, I guess I was looking at because you have the portamento, the squiggle line. So generally that means like a portamento, like, oh! But it was, if you want just like, oh! That kind of sound. Would you rather that?
No, it's more maybe about dynamics actually. Yeah, portamento is good.
Okay, let me.
Portamento is good. Dynamics make it more, maybe just generally quieter.
Yes, let me demonstrate. Like, that's like very covered.
Yes, and possibly maybe the vowel can be different, so it sounds more like a ghost rather than aria. I do say aria in the score, so apologies.
No. Like a ooh, maybe?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, something like this. That's really good.
Okay.
And this is to start with.
Yes.
This is to start with, and then, excuse me, and then when you continue into the singing, you can take off and just do a proper, like you did, proper singing.
Okay.
And I just wanted to say that I really like that you continued with your gesture quietly there. So in bar 74, that was really good. I just wanted to pin that down, but don't change that. All right. So after this section in bar 91, the Gallic spell, I think it was way too intense actually. I just,
Okay.
if I could change it a little bit there, Stefan, for you, if you could just start from almost whispering and over the 2 or 3 bars, maybe move into what you moved into, so it's not such a drastic change.
So, in bar 91, do you want where you marked scream? Do you want that also
No,
soft?
Yeah, maybe just skip the scream actually. Skip the scream in bar 91 and 92 and
Yes.
only move it from bar 93, the end of it.
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay, and then bar 115, it sounded really great. I thought you were a bit fast there actually. Did you feel rushed from bar 115, that aria, the whole thing, the whole aria?
We could take it slower. I think I took it a little faster just because the phrases are quite long and laborious, but not in a bad like way aesthetically, just like it's difficult. But I can stick to 60 there.
Yeah, it just maybe a calmer feeling to it, a little bit more reserved feeling, or stable feeling to it.
Okay.
Yeah, stable is a good word.
Okay.
Okay, and then just a couple more things. 136, bars 136 for both of you. So I realized, Stephanie, you can't do humming so high.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course, just do wherever you do, like bow what you sing. That's fine. And then Jessica, this actually has to be very calm there. Can you play quiet in that register at all, or is it very difficult? Yeah, it would be good if you maybe could just drop down to piano or pianissimo. It has to be like serene, not dramatic anymore. Okay, and then it was great. Again, in the section evoked flame, that whole section, it's a noise section. So maybe I'll just give up, for example, 156, Jessica's gesture, that boom, 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 boom. For me, it sounded, I couldn't hear any scratch at all. Maybe just because I'm on Zoom, because that filters it out. But just bear in mind that it has to be more scratchy, much more scratchy in there. Otherwise, yeah, just more scratches in those sections. But I like this. It was really good, that one. And finally, loved the whole ending. Was really good. With audience participation. So bar 172, Jessica, if you could keep your volume up until Stephanie finishes her ritual to bowing. Do you know what I mean? So until she goes back to her seat, you just keep it quite present.
Okay, Ruta, we must swap now. We're running over.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I apologize about this.
No. It's okay.
Yeah. All right. So there is just one more comment that maybe I can just give it to you.
You just do the one more comment and then.
All right. Okay. So the last comment is Stephanie. After your clap at the end, you don't indicate for audience to do the noises anymore. You hold your hands, palms facing towards them as if you stop them,
Right.
and then you just listen to the environment.
Oh yes. Yeah. I remember now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you much. Thank you so much. Sorry, apologies for running over, but it was great. Thank you very much, everyone.
Well, thank you, Ruta.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, if you can both move into this position so that you can be seen up there, so you can look at, you can talk to the audience that way. Did you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you can say hi and things, introduce yourself to the camera that way. Okay.
Right. Hello.
Hi.
Just
Hi.
getting the old score up.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I have to go into my email to get the score, so of course. You just talk amongst yourselves.
Do you need Wi-Fi? Yeah, we can check it out. Actually,
Do you want to use mine? And I can
Oh.
share.
Or we just airdrop it coming over.
Oh, you know, see, this is why. Yes. I was like, let's see.
1 minute.
You were literally gone.
Bob.
Not anything that interferes with what you need to do.
Let's see. Yeah.
I'll just I'm just connecting to my phone, so I'll just really say there we go. Sorry about that. And then I'm just
I might take a few photos. Is that if that's all right?
Yes, please. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
okay. So hello, people in the room, and hello, people on Zoom. Hello, I'm speaking hello to the camera. And yeah, so this is the goddess of Ballagolish, and well, it's an interesting one. Basically about a wooden effigy that was found by Loch Leven in the 1880s, and this effigy was about 2,500 years old. So she'd been under there a while. And anyway, just going to move on to what would you like to do? Would you like to just play through and see how we go? So I've brought lovely Nicholas Grutton because I'm completely deaf, so I can't hear if you're actually reproducing my score or not. I totally trust you though. I mean, I have to say, but just going to call on Nicola if you don't mind, just to use your ears basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just using her horribly. That's all really.
No change there then.
Okay, so just in your own time.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it feels great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Just trying to think. I can't really sort of give notes or anything, so obviously my trust, as I said, is implicit as far as you representing the score. One worry, but it's not a lot, I mean, but I just wondered if that sort of maybe came across.
I think there was a kind of picking up of the pace a little bit at that change.
Yeah, I think we could do a little
Up there, whereas of course it should be just very, very slightly slower. I think the combination of the tremolo in the cello and then the rhythms in the... So I noticed that we did, if anything, move forward there rather than returning. So maybe that's a spot where we could really make a point of returning.
Mm-hmm.
8 to 68 and then to 60. So is that?
Yeah. Not so that you feel like it's really dragging, but just so that there's maybe a distinction between the sort of little interlude sections, those to be just a slight more urgency to those, and then when you come
into a couple of bars of D just to feel that. Maybe we can like exaggerate slightly the tempo at 45 just to
Yeah. I know it's not a lot of distinction.
no, but it's an energy.
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
Just
thing.
an energy,
Yeah.
yeah.
45?
A sharp noise of
Verse continued, that it gets lighter. The idea is that she's been asleep for a good old while, has old Effie, and she needs to sort of like show that. So like what I'd actually ask the players to do is to sort of start really heavy, and then as each verse continues to sort of,
You know, what you're thinking of that, thinking of the drag at the beginning, whether that adds to anything, something more.
yeah, is it sorry, we're just having a nice wee chat amongst ourselves.
Maybe that's almost imagining if it's the awakening, or, you know, it's that
As we discussed this at the rehearsal, and I can certainly make it more. I was just like cracking the sound a wee bit, as it says notes do not have to fully sound or be beautiful, and I thought that worked well with Stephanie when you came in at A, but I can definitely do more of that if you would like. If you
I
if you
think
want
that's
like a real crunch to the sound.
Sorry, I'm just waiting for captions to catch up. Sorry. Yeah. So
Could you-
more. Maybe we'll try it.
And maybe was there anything to say about the pause? Whether there's longer pauses, would that contribute?
So maybe we could try, if you don't mind, Jessica. Just to see what it's like.
Yeah.
With more drag, maybe even slightly less of the note, and maybe even make slightly more of the pauses.
Okay. Yeah.
Just a tad, and see how that feels.
In the pause, the pauses.
Yeah.
Does that mean you would like a pause after the note's finished as well?
Continuous before, wasn't it? I think in the first
Yes.
play, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How did that feel?
Yeah, that's grand.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely.
That's so. We'll have
Yeah, that direction.
So you're actually hitting other notes as well?
No, scraping maybe.
I was letting the note crack to the point that sometimes it would hit some of the harmonics.
Oh, nice. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Like that. Yeah.
We have 5 minutes, according to Angela.
Execution of it, which is you guys. No pressure. But yeah, just to really sort of almost anything I've written, you can, you know, I'm not saying ham it up. I mean, just like really go with it, you know. Yeah, that's all really, you know. I think it's Thank you, Karen.
Yes, thank you, Karen. And thank you, everyone, for listening online and watching to the composers and the performers at 3:40. And in the meantime, you know, have a relax. And the people in the room, we have teas, coffees, some pastries. Please feel free to eat and consume as much as you can in this short space of time. Okay, thank you very much.
It's like good town.
Sonia would think she would be hearing all of this.
She would hear us, yes.
Yeah, just ask her directly.
I did.
Yes, Karen, please let us know you're here.
It's like a seance.
A sign.
She's warning actually the audio saying this is live, even though the video isn't.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, just in case.
Committed to the bit.
Yeah, hold on, we'll just see. Yeah, that's fine. Well, I mean, I don't know. There's no way of telling that I can't see this. Somebody can phone her or something, perhaps. Or
I don't have her phone number. Could you, so can you tell Ruta that in the chat that we don't have any captions? You still no captions.
No captions.
So we'll just ask you to put the camera on. So I will put the camera on, and then we just.
Captions are back on now, I think.
Okay, great.
Captions are on.
Yay.
Okay, let's begin then.
Okay.
So let us know when we're on.
You are you're going to the world.
Okay, welcome back everyone. We are now going to have our artist talk, and so without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Emily Doolittle to facilitate this section.
Great. I've been sitting in the back all afternoon preparing a list of questions, but I'd really like this to be sort of a free-form discussion, so I'll start out with some questions, but feel free to go off on tangents or ask each other questions or
Illuminate women's music back in 2017 because I felt that I hadn't been very aware of music by women. I didn't even know that I could be a composer actually before, and I didn't realise there'd been other women composers. And so I sort of gradually gathered some performers and some composers, and I said, oh, do you fancy doing just a concert of works by women? And I thought, oh, just one concert. And then it kind of all got out of hand. And before I know it, I've been doing sort of 2 seasons a year before the pandemic, when I had more energy. I commit to the world that there is such wonderful creativity being in women composers working today, and historically as well, because for me they were new and they were a discovery, and I thought they shouldn't be new, they should be already known. Regarding coming to Scotland, there's many reasons. I have like these mini missions within my project, where I always don't want the project to be London-centric. That's not to say that we don't go to London, and I also don't want it to be one sort of type of composer from a certain band and things. But I think Ruta just a couple of years ago said, "Oh, we should do a series up in Scotland one day," and then I sort of finished the different projects I was doing in England and said, "Shall we actually do that?" And so, yeah, here we are as such.
That's great. And could you tell me just a bit more about the theme sort of behind this concert before I go into asking some questions to the composers?
Yes. So obviously we don't want women to just be the theme. And with it being up in Scotland, we thought it'd be really good if we actually engaged with the culture of Scotland. So we asked the composers, we sort of put out a kind of theme as such, to engage with to have a sort of unification across the pieces. I mean, they're all extremely different, but there is this through thread of sort of linking back to nature, to folklore, and the landscape of Scotland, which I think is really beautiful.
Yeah, great, thanks. So the first question I wanted to ask to the composers was just to tell us a bit about the folklore you engaged with in your piece and how you did that. And I'll start with Simone.
Okay. Well, I engaged with this being called the Cúnaic, which I think is how it's pronounced. They are and how people interact with them. But the thing is that no one can interact with them. You can't bargain with them. You can't see them. And they they're sort of, or they're crying for something, an action has been made, and then they begin weeping because they know what will come of that. And it was in the Highlands is where they're sort of based, and this tale is sort of based, and it was based on when people would go to war and things like that, and you sort of know that your family member might not be coming back because you can hear them. They're usually around like bodies of water in the mountains and things like that. And this really resonated with me because I was just thinking about what's happening in the world, what's happening in Palestine, Sudan, and Lebanon, and all the suffering that's happening, and how these Kunyak must be constantly crying for everything that's happening.
Kate.
I mean, I've just got a wolf. So that's what
That's great. Not just a wolf.
Yeah, I mean, so I am Scottish and I live where I grew up. So I couldn't really not write about that place. And there's a myth about a wolf coming down from the moor and slaughtering all the children in the village. We're told that it's actually an allegory for Viking invasion of the area in the early medieval period. So I started thinking about that, and I thought, well, my village has a Gaelic name, like lots of villages, so I speak quite good Gaelic village names as opposed to actually speaking Gaelic. So anyway, from that we have lost, particularly in my area, because it's now all farming land. And I immediately seized upon that as my compositional material and started working through the melodies of those words as materials for my piece. And however, as my writing progressed, the wolf allegory became more and more apt, and I realised that what I was doing was taking the meaning away from words that actually meant something, and I didn't feel very good about that. So I don't think any of you actually heard my piece, but apart from Emily. But yeah, that's what the piece became about. It became about the responsibilities of heritage and taking from heritage and thinking about that. So.
Thanks.
Now, these creatures were half human, half seal, and there's many different stories about them. And there's one particular story that's been told in many different ways about a female Selkie coming to shore with her kin, and then a fisherman stealing her skin and essentially trapping her on land. And when looking at the different ways that this tale was told, keep it light, I realised it was either sort of told in sort of not from any character's perspective, or perhaps even from the fisherman's perspective. And I'm sort of generally fed up in culture of never hearing from the female voice. We're telling in the works that we are working on together. And so I asked her, have you heard of this story before? And she knew it very, very well. And I said, could you write something that, describes this whole story, which is quite a lot to pack in, but also from the female Selkie's perspective. I wanted to hear what her view was on what happened to her. So that's how that's come about. And the folklore is both Scottish, Faroese, and I think also Irish. So there's lots of different versions of the tale. So that's what my piece is about.
Great,
yeah.
Thanks. Next, I'm going to ask Ruta, because I'm afraid I'll forget her because I can't see her. And then Sonia after Ruta. So Ruta, could you tell us a bit about the folklore in your piece?
Yeah, hi everyone. I am here. So my piece actually is based around enchantments and spells. I've been interested in that for a very long time because I'm very interested in old folklore and how the connection of language and music works in that old folklore, and quite a lot of very old enchantments and spells contribute to that. I've been. When I moved to Scotland, I also lived in Paisley, next to the well where the last witch of Scotland was burned. And so I also saw on the road in Paisley there are sealed wells now, where witches would have been held for people to walk over them and spit on them and so on. So I just I think maybe that kind of made that whole feminine history and that part of folklore very present for me and very real, and the fact that it's being erased, some of them disappeared naturally with emergence of our modern civilization, computers and internet and so on, and the modern lifestyle, but some of them being erased very brutally. So I just think there is a lot of knowledge and wisdom is in those remaining lyrics that we can chants and chantings that we can find. And so when I was in art, I have this, somebody recommended me this big book, Carmina Gadelica by Alexander Carmichael, and so I bought it, and it has a lot of Gaelic. They are like prayers, really. They're very, very beautiful, and so in this particular piece, I used fire spells, or otherwise blessing of the kindling, really, something that was very, very sacred, and looked after by the feminine presence in the house. The fire, and the fire was like the essence of livelihood and the spirit in the house. And around the fire, around the kindling, there would be all the stories, and music would be born, and the tales in Gaelic around that. So it's such a magical, really place, and I wanted to kind of capture that. And of course, it really, the way I used it really went through my own experience as being in Lithuania, and we also have very old folk tradition in there. They use some fire spells from Lithuania as well. So it is for me. This is a way of connecting with the Scottish and Gaelic culture, really, and the landscape and the feminine presence and spirit that is here, and especially not in the city, but when you go outside into the landscape and the wilderness, if you can ignore midges, you can really feel that.
Great, thank you. Sonia.
I love public speaking. Let me think. Yeah, so I think I alluded to this before, just a little while ago, and so my work is about a 5-foot wooden effigy that was dug up by the shores of Loch Leven in the 1880s, and she was found face down, poor love, no luck, and she'd been there for 2,500 years, and we don't really know why she was there or anything about her, really. So because there was so little information, I thought, I really like this story about you. I'm really sad that you were put in the ground for all that time, because that's a bit rude, really, isn't it? But I mean, you know, she was found, and I thought, well, the only thing that I can do is maybe, you know, show musically, in a sense, her awakening. So that is basically what the story's about. So I wrote some lyrics and thought about how they could be interpreted in a way that the audience can know that she's been asleep. So there's lots of things like yawning and dragging off the bow and things like that. She is actually, there is something remaining of her, but she's in a bit of a sorry state. But you can find what's left for in the National Museum of Scotland. So there you go.
Great. Thanks. So the next question I wanted to ask is about sort of writing these pieces. I think this concert was planned to be quite collaborative from the beginning, where you would all be working with sort of related themes and writing for specific musicians rather than just writing a generic piano piece for anybody. So I would love to hear a little bit more about sort of the process of writing for the musicians, what kind of back and forth there might have been. Did you just write a piece and give it to them and then see what they did with it? Or were you, in touch with each other along the way? And maybe I'll try to ask questions in a different order, but if I forget somebody, you have to let me know. So I'll start with Kate this time.
Yeah, so I wrote a piece and didn't give it to them because on the day of the deadline, I realised that it was too bad. So we had a workshop to start with, and I talked to Stephanie and Jessica about heritage and heritage language and thoughts about that and feelings of belonging and all this stuff. And they said some really interesting things, and I really liked what they said. And so I wrote a text with a friend about it. However, I wrote some really, really awful music to it. So that there was supposed to be a lot of collaboration in the lyrics, but I didn't use those lyrics because the music that I wrote was so bad. And then after that, I didn't have very much time for as much collaboration as I would have hoped for. But it's been very useful rehearsing with you and getting your feedback on what is playable. So, thank you.
Great. Sonia, how about you? What was the collaborative process like for you?
Yeah, I wrote a little bit. I wrote the first verse and I wrote an introduction and had some ideas about them. So I just took a very little bit of material, gave it to the musicians, lovely musicians, beforehand, and singer, sorry, and gave that to them, and they were very nice. And it's been just really easy, I have to say. Wonderfully easy because they're so game. I think you've heard there's such a wide range of pieces, and it's just really great to, when you're working with people, that they are game and they don't mind doing a bit of, silliness and, like asking them to yawn and all of that gubbins, it's great. But yeah, I think I wanted this sort of heaviness, this lethargy, and so I just decided to ask you both for ideas about that, and you had lots of ideas around that, and so when I went to write the full score, I was able to put those things in, knowing that you wouldn't be really cross with me when you got it and think, oh God, she's written something horrible. So no, it's been just a joy and really easy. And in the second rehearsal with the full score, it was just a case of encouraging even more than they were already giving. So yeah, it's been lovely. And I think working with musicians in this close way, where you can get in there from a really early point, is before you've actually finished as well, then it means that you're sort of more writing for them. So it's lovely.
Yeah, thanks. Simone.
Yeah, it was great. I think it was mainly what I'd given them on the first workshop was just a poem. And with the instructions, well, you're going to sing back and one person's going to say the words, the other person's going to do some sounds, and then you're both going to wail. To which Jessica thought I meant actually sing. So then I was like, oh, okay. No, wail on the cello. And it was the collaborative, it was just great, really. It was really nice to see what could work with the delivery of the text and creating the soundscapes and alternating there. And yeah, they were up for it, made some nice, cool sounds. That's just been fun.
That's great. Yeah, I read your blog post, and I learned that this is the first time you've written a piece for other people. Is that correct? That usually you improvise and create things, but for yourself to realize. Yeah. So what was it like for you writing something for other people to realize?
Well, I sort of wrote it as though I was going to play it. Uh-huh. So that was my entry point. Okay. I just improvised. So the whole cello part is something that I played and then had transcribed. Uh-huh. And then was sort of just using my basic music theory knowledge to be like, that would sound nice. And it was just, the thing that really took me by surprise was actually hearing it, like having them then do the thing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm the one that does this, but
Yeah.
so it's really weird to be on the other side and be like, I have no part in this now, you just do that. And then that's what I want it to sound like, or that, I wouldn't have thought of it that way. And it's nice to see how people interpret things differently, especially when some of the notation is so loose. So yeah, it was
Cool.
really cool.
That's great. I'll go to Ruta next.
Hi. So I actually really appreciate the collaborative process, because the whole first workshop was just inventing sounds together, really, for my piece, because there were so many sounds that I needed to test, and I needed both Jessica and Stephanie to be comfortable with them, but also I wanted them to match each other, which was very important for some sections of my piece. So I think we spent ages inventing very small little noises that go past very quickly in my piece, actually. But I hope it was worth it. And then there are also some of the sections in my score are quite free, actually. I think I don't know how Jessica and Stephanie feels, but I think there is space for them to interpret, and I quite enjoy listening to their interpretation as well. I actually didn't ask to correct very much of it, because some of the choices they made were surprising, but I just like how it sounds, and I think that's why I leave a little bit open scores, so anything can happen in them, when the other sections are very, very strict and tight, actually.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Angela.
Yes, I absolutely love the collaborative process as well. And I always think it's so lovely to write for specific people, because you have both their personality and their musical personality in your mind. And though your music is still yourself, it's like any conversation that you have in life. You're always someone slightly different depending on who you are talking to. And I've known Stephanie actually for a number of years. We actually met in Boston in 2019 when I was there on the Mendelssohn Scholarship. So I feel like as though I had quite a long time understanding what her voice and performance practice is like. And then I sort of watched some videos of Jessica, as much as you can gain through videos. And I think also quite early on, I sent Stephanie an email, like I do to all singers, where I asked them, what's your range, what's your favourite octave, what's your favourite fifth, anything I need to know, what things do you like to do, what things do you dislike doing, and so on. And then we had our first workshop in September. I think I'd written about 2 minutes of the piece, mainly that sort of more free box aleatoric things. And it was good to sort of just nuance the way that words were being pronounced, discuss how sort of things to do with like the mouth closing thing, to do with like closing of the palate, things that are all really hard to communicate on the score itself. And also sort of things to do with, I remember we spoke for quite a long time about the word crack and coming down to sort of vocal fry type things. So, being able to be in the room and have a conversation with the performers really helps you sort of shape the piece in much more of a sort of deep and meaningful way than you would be if you were just to write a piece for anonymous soprano cello. So, yes, it's been wonderful.
Great. And we're lucky to have the performers on stage with us now, too. So I wanted to ask them as well about, maybe starting with Stephanie, about what your process has been like in this concert. You're premiering 5 pieces and singing some other new pieces, or some other recent pieces as well. So I'd love to hear about your experience.
Yeah, I think what's been challenging and also like exciting at the same time is like the wide range of music like in these 5 commissions, and also like the personalities of each composer, and kind of the witnessing the creative processes of each person is really exciting. I guess because you all know that I dabble in extended techniques, it's just like all the pieces were just full of them. which was really fun and a great learning experience to really be specific, to go beyond like the noise aspect of different vocal techniques, but really think about the expressive qualities and maybe timbral nuances of different vocal techniques. And in kind of going into those specifics, then you really find what can, a certain sound, like how much expression a certain sound, even for a moment, can bring in a piece. So it was really exciting to be able to work with composers who are all game for that. And then working with Jessica, who's also like so keyed into like timbral nuance and articulation and also just like spontaneity with sound. I sense like a bit of like similarity in that, and so there's a lot of times where we're just like, I feel like we can like listen to each other and play, and it's really exciting and definitely a much more fulfilling experience than like getting score for anonymous go. So I've enjoyed it.
Great. Jessica.
Thanks. And yeah, it has been incredibly fun. It's been incredibly fun, like playing around and finding these sounds, and the diversity, like Stephanie says, within the 5 pieces is so broad, and it's fascinating actually working on Alive, as well as being really fun and interesting to work directly with the composers. It also just makes life much easier, because it shortens the sort of unnecessary bits of the process. Like if I am trying something at home and I think, I don't know if this is quite what's wanted here, then I'll just send a wee voice note or an email off to the composer. Was this what you had in mind here? And it really cuts down on like the sort of the clutter or the barrier of having to write the music down, and then we can we could describe it in our score however we need to. But yeah, it's been great fun. Like Stephanie said, we've had loads of fun being playful with the different sounds, so it's been great.
Yeah, great. And maybe I'll ask you each one more question and then open it up to questions from the audience and from each other. What is something that you learned or discovered or tried in this concert that you're going to take away with you, that you might do again or explore further, or for that matter, something you tried and you're never going to try again? And I'll start with Sonia.
So I've taken using captioning within a scored and over there, and we improvise music. It's all improvised, and so taking that practice into when you're working with music and scores is it's slightly unnerving, obviously, because I can't hear anything that the performers are playing, and that's very frustrating. But so today I've been having the captioner giving me some of the quality of the playing as well, and that's interesting. But it's very difficult, I think, for the captioner as well, because I've asked her to come into a completely different environment. But so it's a big learning curve, and it's just given me confidence that as a deaf composer I can keep going, and I don't have to stop just because I can't hear anything anymore. So it's good.
Cool, that's great. Thanks. Jessica, I think you guys can answer this question as well. So Jessica.
I'll definitely be taking some of the improvisatory work that we've been doing. It's something that I have done a little bit in the past, but not nearly so much of, and just everything about this project has really been delivered with a spirit of sort of warmth and generosity, which really creates a nice atmosphere for trying out new things and gaining confidence. So that's something I will be carrying with me.
Great. Stephanie?
Something that comes to mind that might be a bit of an odd answer, but been thinking a lot. For example, I'm very much like an introvert in real life, and often I think of music, my music making is like a chamber musician, almost like an instrumentalist. But then there's also the role of connecting with audience, not with text and with body and with voice, and so thinking of specifically interaction with audience and creating a communal space with sound is quite interesting, and then also with choreography, and it makes me think. Yeah, it makes me think more about the role of the singer, but also the role of the woman on stage, and what kind of archetypes we sometimes go into in works, others, and how these stereotypes, or not stereotypes, archetypes, can be like quite powerful from a point of like autonomy. And in that way, then you can like kind of go into an archetype and then share a space with people and kind of share that magic. It's a very odd answer to this question, but it's something that's been kind of percolating, and I just wanted to kind of throw that in the space.
Cool. Thank you. Angela.
I'm not sure if this is something I've been trying like only in this piece, but across a series of pieces recently where I've been very interested in opera and sort of trying to tell a narrative opera scene that was sort of based in memory that might have been a place or perhaps wasn't, as our first collaboration. And second one is an opera scene that we hope to develop into a full opera. But this one, I feel, is like as though I'm still trying to write an opera, and it's a whole story packed into 10 minutes. So I feel that's something that I'm exploring in this work, and I'm sure Kendra would agree, also trying to pack in a lot of text within a short space of time. And the challenge of that, because you don't want the meaning kind of sort of large emotional journey that you go on within the 10 minutes. So that's something I've been exploring in this piece, and also other pieces quite recently within the last year or so.
Cool. Yeah, I almost asked you if you had considered staging it, because it does have a very operatic.
Yeah, I think quality. It should, Kendra. We should make this into we should make this in. I know she's watching. Make this into an opera. This is the only beginning. We've got another work first. Anyway.
Kate.
Thank you. So my piece ended up becoming quite personal and about how I perceive sounds, and trying to create a structure in music, in sound, that kind of portrayed how I mishear words. So that's what that's about, and I don't think I'll do it again because it only really works once. So or mishear the world, whether it's words or other sounds or anything in particular, and how I might kind of create musical structures based around that. So.
Great, thank you. Simone.
Well, apparently I can write music, so that's really what I'm
Yay,
taking.
that's great.
But I think the main thing is that I always felt there was a barrier because I didn't realize until I did my bachelor's that I actually couldn't read music that well, and I learned everything by ear. And I just struggle, like I have dyscalculia, and like symbols sometimes just lose all meaning. So I've always been really against composing because I just found it so inaccessible. And luckily there's like tools now where you can transcribe things that you've played, and then also use keyboards to actually notate music, and because I know what I want to hear, but I just couldn't put it on the page. So I think, using those tools and trusting that my
That's great.
innate musicality will guide me.
That's really good. Great, thanks. And Ruta?
I really felt like I could do things with this piece experiment with the things that exactly in the way I want to, because I don't always feel that with commissions. Sometimes I feel under pressure of the environment that will be presented, of performers, their background and so on, but in here I really felt like I could go into the space of experimentation, which I normally only do by myself at home, writing pieces for myself, and then some of those aspects I bring into written pieces for the others, but very few of them. But this piece actually, explores maybe the world of sounds that I'm very interested in, and the philosophy of sounds behind them that I'm interested in right at this moment in my life. And I don't know. It's very. I'm very curious actually how it will go with the audience tomorrow. Hopefully, no adventure for me this piece is. And yes, I hope I can do more of those in the future for sure.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So now I'd like to open it up to questions from the audience, but also from people up here. You can ask questions to everybody or to individuals. Yeah.
As well.
Sorry. I didn't think of that.
Cheers.
Good call.
First of all, thank you for a really interesting talk, and I'm looking forward to the concert tomorrow. So when you're writing for voice and you're using text, obviously it's makes the piece a lot less abstract in many ways and more sort of tangible. I was just wondering, and some of you have touched on this already, what your particular approach to finding a text was, where in the...
Great. So maybe if a couple people want to answer that? Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I write my own poetry, and sometimes I try and find other texts, but more and more I've been working with Kendra, as I mentioned, because I think it sort of first came about when I was trying to write this piece I half referred to do with memory and difficult memories, and I was trying to write these words down, and I just couldn't quite do it. And I felt like this needs someone who is specifically skillful in writing a narrative, and that's their remit. I always think we should definitely, because she's written words and created and conjured images that I don't think I would have done myself in the same way.
Mm-hmm. Great. Is there somebody else who wants to? Yeah, Simone. Yeah.
Well, sort of commenting on your work as well, because I often mishear lyrics. I actually cannot hear lyrics to save my life. That audio processing part of my brain doesn't work. So I deliberately didn't really have any of the text sung until the very end, because I sort of split it. I found the text important and I want it to be heard and understood. And because I just can't hear.
Sorry, Simone, you've ended.
Hi. Hi, my name is Nader. Actually, I was watching you live, and Ruta was, we were chatting live, and so she was telling about the stuff. So what I was wondering about is that actually cello is my favorite instrument, but I was wondering if you would, in a position that you would choose another instrument, what would you choose, and why did you choose cello with a voice? Because maybe a harmonic instrument would much be better, maybe, or adding an instrument to it, and cello could be...
Sure, I can do, though, and to answer your question directly, though, I think we need Angela, because it's Angela who chose the instrumentation. But I did have an interesting chat with a taxi driver on the way in about the merits of cello, solo cello, and voice. And of course, a lot of the time, there's quite a helpful gap between our registers. I tend to occupy the lower registers, and Stephanie the upper. And it's been interesting to sort of flip any traditional roles between the cello and the singer in terms of accompanying or leading. But I'll pass you over to Angela for the chat on the decision.
I was trying to remember the precise reason. Maybe Ruta will remember. To explore as a composer, and so I think that's partly why I mean, not to get into boring things, but also like on a practical level, some of the things that me and Ruta need to consider is about like how we can take this series realistically on the road. I mean, I have done things with piano before, but it always adds a complication. So I think that might have been one practical thing as well. Ruta, if you can remember anything further than that, please jump in at this point.
Yeah, well, I do remember that we settled on voice very quickly because of Scotland and the singing tradition in Scotland, and we were already thinking about Scotland related. We settled again because something about this, maybe something to do with traditional music, like voice accompanied by harp, for example. It's like this kind of very small, very intimate setting. So, but we, yes, we didn't want to go with harp, not to imitate the folk songs so directly. So then we thought about string instruments, and of course cello is the best one because
Yeah.
Well, I'm a violinist actually, so to hear it from me.
Yeah.
So, it's really because we thought about Stephanie and soprano, and we thought, well, there isn't a better instrument, a string instrument. That I was thinking about particular people, and I knew about Jessica's work already, and her own project just she runs, and I always wanted to work with Jessica, and I'm just very glad it happened.
Yeah, there is a tradition of cello and Scottish music as well, Scottish traditional music, so fits with the theme as well. Yeah, there's time for one very fast question. Yeah.
Time for online questions.
Oh, maybe we should do an online question. Is there one, or?
No, there isn't.
Okay, great. So I think you had your hand up. Okay, ask quickly. Maybe we can do both of them. Yeah.
I'm really sorry. This question is a bit bigger than I expected for a quick question. Kind of work as a kind of scene, as a music scene, to better represent women, and on the concert stage. You know, it's a big question. So maybe in kind of bigger areas or even more specific places. How can that happen? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you want to address that, Angela? Since
if you don't mind me. I mean, I have a whole book chapter about
I'm sure
this.
we could all talk about that for hours, but yes.
So please do go and read that. I've got 2 book chapters on this topic. But I think we all have to take responsibility in it for it. I think we all have our own personal knowledge of repertoire, and in our different practices, whether that's performing or education or sort of recording, then that's how we can gradually do it. And I think we're sort of talking about this in the break about the use of the word or the phrase woman composer. This I was saying about that this is basically the only context where I like to actually use that word, because we need to have to be able to talk about the problem. Women composers are still not represented and enough, and there often ends up being sort of a swing of the pendulum, sort of more women composers being programmed. People think the problem's been, and they were sort of doing not something so dissimilar to this project, and they, some reason, decided to stop because they thought they'd fixed it. And then 15 years later, they realised their colleagues and so on were not really getting the commissions like they had been. They weren't getting programmed like they had been. So I forget exactly what she said to me, but what I took from that was keep going, and when you fix it, then also keep going. And I think that's the spirit in which I try to do everything. So when I also run an amateur orchestra, and whenever I can, I'm also programming historical works by women in that orchestra. And it's difficult because that kind of work, the easier it is to also use it in educational spaces and so on. So I'm not sure if that was a short answer, but anyway.
That's a good answer. That's just making me think of that, there've been a couple of days where lots of people have added women composers to Wikipedia, and it's been an initiative that anybody can add to. You don't have to be a composer or a musician. And
yes, there was a Wickathon, wasn't there? Years ago?
And I mean, it actually makes a big difference because there were all these women you couldn't find out much about before, and now there's an easy way to find out about them. So there's little steps that, I'm not good at adding new Wikipedia entries, but whenever I see something that doesn't seem big enough or has a mistake, I always add a little bit more. Or I notice often you look up composers of, pieces for 7 saxophones.
I just have a very quick question for Sonia. As you mentioned that you use things like captioning in your scores and in your music, and I'm very interested in sort of how that process works and what that looks like.
Okay, thanks for asking that question. Captioners usually caption speech only. That's their traditional remit. And during the pandemic, when we all went online together but alone, when it came to anybody playing anything, then there was nothing. So the captioners that I was working with suggested that they would audio describe what was happening. So it's live description. It's like a live audio description, a stream of consciousness prose. It's very poetical, very descriptive, and we've been sort of finessing this process for about 4 years, and it meant that I could start to perform again as an improviser. So what happens is people in an ensemble are improvising, and it's captioned live. So I'm following that live and responding to it. There's obviously a slight...
Okay. So, well, thank you so much, everyone coming in the room and everyone online. I hope you've enjoyed listening to all the works during the workshop and this discussion. I've certainly enjoyed it. Have further conversations after this. So thank you very much, and goodbye.